All right, music fans, welcome. Harmless Me here again, talking real music in real time for real people just like you and just like me. All right, so the Kiss situation, the video I did earlier, I'm actually kind of tired of talking about Kiss, but they give you a lot to discuss. First, Paul and Gene both test for the thing. They get the thing. Gene says, hey, no problem. Paul said it kicked his rear end. Of course, he used slightly different language, but he did say that. But yet they keep telling everybody you got to go and do what we do, right? So that's fine. That's fine. I'm kind of over it at this point. I mean, I have my own opinions on this. Their guitar tech, Francis Stuber, passed away, apparently from the thing. Now, I've learned some new information. Keep in mind, the band and crew are all supposed to have done the thing. But I learned that it is likely that Mr. Stuber didn't do this, that he didn't do it. Now, if you're from that world right now, you're gasping in horror and you're thinking to yourself, how could he not do this? Or did he have some kind of a fake identification or something that convinced people that he had done it, right? And he was around people who had done the thing, but apparently who could still pass it along. And, you know, in the early days of this, remember, I talk about the goalposts being moved during this entire 18, 19 months of complete hell on earth, where they say, well, do the thing and you can't pass it along, or do the thing and you won't get sick, right? So those two things gone. Do the thing and you won't go to, you know, the ER. Now, if you check out what's going on in the UK, Israel, Illinois, and you really do your work, like do your homework, look around, don't just turn on CNN and think you're going to get the full story, because you won't get any story. They're not talking about this. Because remember, it's a thing-demic of the people who are Neanderthal, knuckle-dragging Southerners who drive pickup trucks and have shotgun racks in the back. Those are the people causing all the problems, right? According to our wonderful media. Nope. Try again. So all that to say that in this situation, it looks bad for Kiss no matter what. Now, why am I doing another video on this? Well, something else happened a couple of hours ago. Kiss decided to cancel their Las Vegas residency. And all you get from the article is that you can get your refund. They're supposed to play some dates. New Year's Eve in Vegas, right? At the Hard Rock or whatever it is down there. I read the name of the place. I'm not going to remember it. The promoter basically says, according to the Las Vegas Journal or whatever publication that released this information, is that ticket sales were soft. Now, keep in mind, we haven't hit November yet. You've got 60 days, basically, almost, to sell tickets for this first show, right? The 29th, 31st, and then you've got dates in January from the 19th and until, I believe, February 5th. So you've got a whole slew of dates. By the way, the band is supposed to go to Australia after that. Wow. How are they going to let them in Australia after what's been taking place just in their sphere, right? The way Australia is, like martial law, medical martial law, and lockdowns, and don't go out. And when you go out, we're going to know when you go out and so forth. I mean, yeah, anyone who's going to argue with me about the level of tyranny that is and say, oh, it's for the greater good, don't even go there. It's not worth talking to you at that point. I'm sorry. And I love people from Australia, although I had kind of a bad relationship with a few people for a while because of my commentary on the Little River Band, but I've since repented, and now, you know, I think things are pretty good. But in any event, so this really isn't funny, because this poor man Stuber isn't here anymore. And I just think this was so preventable. Not because I think he should have done the thing, because number one, if he's coughing and having difficulty breathing and the crew sees this and they say, oh, well, it's because, they treat Gene and Paul better than the crew and they expect the crew to work through all their difficulties. That wasn't the issue here. The issue was Mr. Stuber may have spent a little bit too much time with Paul Stanley, if you know what I mean, since he is Paul's guitar tech, passing guitars back and forth. Hello. I mean, this is an easy one. This is not like, Murder, She Wrote. This is a pretty easy one to kind of connect the dots with. Now, maybe none of that is true, but the fact that they're canceling these dates and they're citing soft ticket sales, isn't this the end of the road? Isn't this going to be the last time you can see Kiss in concert? And you're in Sin City, Vegas, New Year's, and you're canceling the Vegas New Year's gig. I think there might be something slightly more to this than just soft ticket sales. Anyway, I mean, it could be maybe people are tired of this. Maybe they know, the auto-tune, the voice correction software, the backing tracks, whatever it is, the Pro Tools, whatever is being employed. And by the way, this isn't just a Kiss problem. I'm constantly in contact with people who reach out to me and say, you don't know the half of this. You've just kind of scraped the surface. This is why I'm one of those guys that looks at what's happened over the last 30 years to create this problem. Number one, age. Everybody's kind of aging out of the rock and roll business. And they're pretending they can do what they used to do, but they really can't. But they keep telling everybody that they can. Then you see somebody get up there and people will tell me, they'll send me messages via Patreon. They'll say, what's the matter? He sounds great. And I'll go, first of all, he's singing in the wrong key. Secondly, there's all kinds of help going on there. And I'll have these little discussions back and forth. And by the way, this stuff has fooled me as well. I've gone to shows. I went to one in 2017, pretty high profile concert. And there was stuff going on. There was definitely some help. And this particular singer really needed the help. And he still needs the help. But technology and your former self, all of the audio that you've left behind over the years, whether it was in the studio or on the live stage, you just sample that audio and you place it where it's needed, especially if you're not hitting those notes the way you used to hit them. Doesn't mean you have to sing all the time anymore, right? It means that you sing when you can, and then you look like you're singing when the technology is doing the work for you at that point. So it's very interesting. Kiss, people really don't care about that because they want to see a show. They want to see pyrotechnics, explosions. They want to hear Paul and Gene yelling. They want to see everybody dressed up in full makeup. That's what they want to see. I mean, Las Vegas, this is the perfect place for Kiss. Why would you cancel these gigs 60 days out? I mean, maybe wait until the 1st of December. I mean, you've got the holidays coming up. Hey, this would make a great Christmas gift. A couple of tickets to go see Kiss in Vegas. Why would you cancel this early? I get the January and February stuff to some degree, but you got to see how things go. My guess is there's some internal fallout, to use a mild word. There could be some internal fallout from what happened to Mr. Stuber. All right. And there might be some internal fallout because this band, right, is supposed to have everything locked down tight. And the road crew is saying that they don't. And again, do I think any of this stuff really mitigates the problem? No, I don't. But that's not the issue. The issue here. The issue here is in their world, the way they perceive this was mishandled and mishandled badly. And you've got a little bit of do as I say, don't do as I do. In fact, you've got a lot of that going on here. And then you've got the fans who have been complaining, like half of the people or 40%, whatever the number truly is, who are like, hey, stop telling me what to do. I want to rock and roll and party all night long, right? Every day. That's what I want to do. And these guys are saying, nope, can't do it. Got to follow the rules, got to follow the protocols. And whether this gentleman escaped and nobody figured that out, that's a really bad scenario for them. And if these guys are really tight, because Paul Stanley went on to say about his wife and his kids, this is really sad. But if those two guys were close, because they've known each other for a couple of decades anyway, then you think they'd be friendly enough to have this discussion. But here's the punchline. You want to keep your job, but you're afraid to do this thing. You want to keep your job, but you're afraid this might not work out the way everybody says. It's just going to be great. It's going to be great. It's going to be effective. That I can tell you, right? And what if it doesn't work out that way? And you'll say, well, that's very rare. I don't know. In a cover-up, when something is being covered up and many people don't know about it, and you'll say, okay, now you've secured the tinfoil hat on your head, and there's no possible way that this cover-up could be happening. And I say, how do you know? You don't, because they never tell you. Is it soft ticket sales? I don't think it's soft ticket sales. I don't think you're being told the truth most of the time when you turn the television on. I don't think the truth really exists in most media. People who are just kind of, like, I'll tell people, like, I'm kind of a journalist, and they go, you're not a journalist. And I go, why? What a journalist does is he looks at what he sees or hears, or what other people write or say, and he either writes it down and then, gives it back, or he just tells you what he heard or what he saw. A journalist sits there in the old days with a little pad of paper, scrolling a few notes and telling people what they're seeing. And that's it. And it's not hard to be a journalist. I mean, you can go to school for it, for technique and style and how to present yourself and how to, get clicks and views and all that stuff. But really, journalism is just observing what you see and telling people what you just saw. And yes, there is bias. I can have a reporting bias. You see it every single day. But if you can at least get the story in there somewhere in between your opinions on what you just read or saw, then at least people are getting the story. They may not agree with your take. Like my take here is there could be something internal going on with KISS after some really bad things happening here. First, it was humiliating. Paul gets the thing. Gene gets the thing. That's humiliating because they're on Twitter and all they do is yell at people who disagree with them. So then they say, hey, we're going to be the safest. We're going to be the most vigilant. We're going to be the most sanitary. We're going to lock everything down. We're going to make everything secure. And then this happens. Now, it would be a lot easier for KISS if they weren't so dogmatic about this stuff. But because they are dogmatic about it, this makes them look like hypocrites or like they really didn't do what they said they were going to do. Right? They weren't successful at it. They may have talked a good game, but they didn't follow through, or something broke through here. And this gentleman was very close to Paul Stanley. So it makes it really weird. Now, many people are going to say, if I'm telling you that this person may not have done the thing, then this is on him, right? This is his fault in the new economy of logic. This is his fault. And I disagree. I disagree because there are millions of people who have fear. and they're not afraid of the thing as much as they're afraid of the other thing. Both things, by the way, are most likely given to us by the same people who work in different areas of science. Let's just put it that way. One thing was created to cause havoc. Another thing was created to cure the havoc, right? Supposedly. But all of it has created fear. So anybody with the kind of fear that this gentleman had, or anybody who says to themselves, you know what? I don't trust this. I just don't trust it. I have the right not to trust this. And people will say, well, look, he got what he deserved, right? This is what you're hearing all the time in the media. Well, you know, hey, it's a thing-demic of the people who decide that they're going to drag their knuckles and be those guys driving those trucks with a shotgun racks in the back. Good riddance, right? Nope. This man was beloved by his family and Paul Stanley. So why would you ever say that? But there are people out there. I think Gene Simmons actually made those comments. Gene, I think you might need to walk that back, brother. Just saying. So in any event, the saga continues with Kiss. It's weird. They've canceled those gigs and very little explanation. They're saying soft ticket sales for a New Year's Eve gig for the 29th prior to that. You've got 2 months to sell tickets. I know those tickets are really expensive too, but you might want to try maybe lowering the ticket prices. But I don't think that's the real issue here. I think all of this bad PR and all of the hypocrisy, and they're probably saying, let's just let the storm die down and hope that the truth doesn't come out about this. Because if the truth comes out, we're really screwed. Now, again, do I know 100% sure about what happened to this gentleman? No, but people talk within the business and rumors go from one musician to another. And people are friendly, right? They know the truth behind the scenes, and especially if, you know, they're being mistreated by the people they work for, they're more than likely to maybe spill the beans to someone, just to vent. And, you know, I don't do this, by the way, to try to make anyone look bad per se. I get upset because it seems that the world has gone crazy. And if you have a different opinion about this whole situation, you're public enemy number one, rather than somebody with a different viewpoint. You know, you're a hater or you're a denier. I love that one. You're a denier. Well, I think you're a denier right now. If you're not looking at the stats coming out of certain places, you're a denier. And you need to get a grip, and you need to get off the legacy media narrative, whatever it is, propaganda gravy train. All right. And like I said before, do your own research, come to your own conclusions about this. This is not a laughing matter. Last thought on this is, again, people seeing this person with symptoms, intervention as a human being. If you don't want to get close to them, call someone else. Bring someone in with hazmat gear. I don't know how you deal with it, but there's a way to deal with it. And regardless, right, if they resented him, because this is what you're finding in hospitals, if they resented the person because they had a different view on this and they weren't willing to help him because of that, that's criminal behavior. That's absolutely criminal. And again, we don't live in the same world that we once knew all those years ago, back in 2019, right? Things were way different in 2019, but maybe this was all supposed to happen so we'd all wake up. Don't know. Anyway, thanks for watching the channel, and please subscribe to it. And if you want to join Patreon, just $1 a month. And if you're a patron and you know some information about this that can confirm this a little bit, say someone wants to go on the record and they want to tell the truth, that's fine. I don't want to make anybody look bad in this situation, but there are people that need to be held accountable for having these opinions and then making everybody feel bad because they had a different opinion. I think that's what really irks me. So that's the video. See you soon.